Hello and welcome to Eastwick's Paper and Ink. My name is Katie and today we are going to be making these Wishing You the Happiest of Birthdays cards using the Spellbinders Glimmer foil system and a couple embossing folders. They're super easy to make and we're going to get started right now. So the embossing folders that I'm using are one's from Stampin Up and it's called the Subtle Dynamic Textured Impressions Embossing Folder, and the other is from Fun Stamper's Journey and it's called the Love Stripes. You can use any embossing folders that you like. I'm showing you some examples of what they're going to look like. Use whatever embossing folders you like. I personally like simple, subtle, that doesn't really take away from your sentiment. Okay, so in this case, you know, our Wishing You the Happiest of Birthdays is our sentiment. So we just want to give something, because, you know, it doesn't take up the whole size of the A2 card, but, you know, so you want something to give you for a background without taking away from the sentiment. So the papers we're using to emboss is from Neenah, and it's the Metallic Creative Collection cardstock. And I went ahead and I dry embossed each of these. I did 4 of each, one in each color of, you know, both embossing folders. So we're going to have a total of 8 cards. And the metallic paper you can pick up at Walmart. You can pick it up at Target. Probably Staples and Office Depot, Office Max, but Walmart and Target for sure, because that's where I picked mine up, was from Walmart. And we're going to go ahead and get started with our foiling. And the card gave me, I created this a few weeks back for our granddaughter, and I used the pink and gray color scheme. And so I did the Love Stripes embossing folder on the darker gray, and that's called the Chalice Silver cardstock, and I used the pink foiling, and I absolutely loved it. And I'll show you the sentiments later on that I used on the inside of the card. Now I went through and I did all my foiling. I kind of sped this up. You know, you don't roll that through your die cutting machine that quickly, but because a lot of this is tedious. So when you're making 8 cards, these probably took me about an hour to do, and that was including putting them together. The key is do them in stages. So cut all your paper, emboss, you know, all your panels that, you know, with whatever folder you want. You may want, I absolutely love the Love Stripes, so I really could have done all of these in that, but I figured I'd change it up a little bit and use a different embossing folder just to give a few different cards, you know, because we're using the same sentiment. So it changed it up a little bit without having to do too much extra. So, and then you do all your foiling, and then you do all your die cutting. I did trim these panels down, and I'm going to show my waffle flower A2 layering die set, which I absolutely love. If you have that, or you have the Hero Arts, those layering dies are fantastic. It gives you so many options. For these, I used the 6th one down and the 7th one down to cut the panel. The teal one, where you can see here, I'm showing you, I had kind of foiled that on an angle, so I used a smaller one, but I also rounded the corners on that, so it gave, you know, a different option. You know, you may want to round the corners even on the larger panels, and I just think they turned out fantastic. I love the way that that I paired them up. I'll show you in the end that I paired them up. Some have white card bases, some have a light gray card base, and a couple of them have dark chocolate from Gina K. And I also, after I did my initial foiling, this one here, this is the champagne foil. I off camera, I did that several times. I tried different cardstocks and I just couldn't get a good foiling, and it really bummed me out because I absolutely love the color. But you know, I switched that up later in the video. I went ahead and I foiled the regular gold. I had used a matte gold foiling and I switched it up from the champagne to the regular gold. I also used the the emerald facets, I think it's called, the teal, the sky bright, and the silver holographic facets. I used the red, I used the pink, and I just, you know, I love the foiling. I really do. And if you are on the fence about whether you should purchase a foiling machine, don't be. You know, if you have a Gemini die cutting machine, they have a machine, you know, so if you're on the fence about foiling period, or you don't want to have to buy new machines, you know, and you know, the Spellbinders Glimmer system you can use with any die cutting machine except for your Gemini. Okay, they make their own to work with their die cutting machine. So if you have a Gemini, get the Gemini foil press. If you have, you know, a Sizzix, you have, obviously you have, you know, the Platinum's die cutting machines, the regular or the 6th, or I want to say the We Are Memory Keepers Evolution, anything that will take a steel rule die, the thick Biggs dies, you can use that type of die cutting machine. I know the Cuttlebug does not work, but those don't take those steel rule dies. So any other type of die cutting machine, and you could absolutely use the Glimmer system with it. You'd have to play around with your shims. I did a review on my channel. You can see the last video that I did, a review, and I showed that I actually had some issues. I still have some issues with the center of my Glimmer pad, but I used some shims and things, and I moved stuff around to compensate, to make sure that I'm getting good foils. So you absolutely can use any type of die cutting machine, as long as it will take a steel roll die, to use the Glimmer system, and I highly recommend it. It really does, you know, it kind of steps up your cards a little bit, to where, you know, you get these really impressive shimmers and shines without having to do a whole lot. I liked it. But coming up for my next video, we're actually going to make some holiday tags, and I'm going to use this Hero Arts oldie but a goodie woodblock stamp. And so stay tuned for that. If you haven't subscribed, please do, because you'll get notified as soon as I pop that video up. And also, I would love it if you liked and shared my videos, to let other people know if you like them, and to get it out there so people can see. So I went ahead and I switched some cardstocks up. Like I said, I was having some problems foiling with the champagne foil. So during my testing, I had done the silver holographic facets on the white cardstock, and I just thought that it would look really more impressive on a darker cardstock. So I went and I picked up out of my stash some black, and it's just a 65-pound Neenah cardstock. It's from one of their creative collection packs, and I also went and got some of the Gina K Designs white layering cardstock, because I was finding, as I was kind of putting the panels together with my embossed panels, that on the champagne pearl, the off-white, the ivory cardstock just looked a lot better with that background. So I did some additional foiling, so that added a little bit of time. But sometimes when you got a plan and you're just going at it, sometimes things don't look right, so you got to just go do a couple things a little different, and that's exactly what I did. So as we get through the foiling, I'm going to foil this black cardstock, and I believe I also show you the ivory. And that's when I switched up to the gold. I also added the regular gold to the ivory cardstock and the matte gold. I did those again too. I also initially didn't get a very good foiling on the matte gold, which was one of the reasons I changed up too, because I went ahead and I added an additional shim to the center, you know, to that plate, to give some extra pressure, and that did the trick. However, it didn't work with my champagne. So I do know that some foils foil better than others. Some you don't need quite as much pressure. So that's also something to consider when you're using your shims. If you're getting a lot of overfoiling, maybe take a shim away. If you're getting underfoiling, a lot of underfoiling, add a shim, and see where that goes. And one of the best things to use is just your scrap cardstocks. I know I have them, so I'm sure everybody else does too. That way you don't feel like you're wasting good pieces of card to, you know, to test some things out to see how they'll work for you. And this is that silver facets, holographic facets, and it's just stunning on there. I just think that came out fantastic. And these are the ivory cardstocks. This is the matte gold that I went ahead and used. And again, I didn't need to necessarily tape down. I probably could have saved a little time, probably not that much, by not taping my plate down to my cardstock, but because I was trimming them away, I was going to be using a die cut to cut the layer out. So you don't necessarily have to take that step like I did. But remember, assembly line, when you're wanting to do a bunch of things, just make an assembly line. Take each step. Once you get it done, put it in the pile, move to the next step, and then, you know, it just makes it a lot more efficient to get things done, and you'll be done with them in no time. I certainly could have done a lot more. I thought 8 was enough. And I did speed this up quite a bit so that you didn't have to sit and watch this for an hour. Because again, it is tedious. It's, you know, you're doing the same things over and over again. But I know people like to see the machines in action. So that's why I didn't edit it out. And this is that matte gold on the ivory cardstock. I just think that came out beautiful. The color's just, it's so warm. I love it. Perfect for the fall. If you have anybody with a fall birthday, it's a nice warm card to send. And and I did cut some additional white ivory cards or white layering cardstock because I was also testing out some other panels with foils because I hadn't gotten the good foiling, the green silver or the green emerald facets. That didn't come out so well either. In fact, I'm making some notes on the shims and stuff that I used when I did that, just so that I would have a note. And so like the matte gold, I used 3 shims, so I marked that down. And the champagne, I couldn't get it to work no matter what I did. Even with different cardstock, and I actually have really good success with the Neenah K layering for foiling because it's such a smooth surface. So now we're going to go ahead and assemble, and I'm using some 1-inch double-sided adhesive. You don't need to use that big of adhesive, but I wanted to use less and get more coverage. And so again, assembly line. So I went through beforehand and I paired everything up with the card bases that I wanted to use, because some of them look better on different cardstock than just white. And so I have some, like I said, I have mostly white, but I have a couple grays. I have a fog cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, and then I have the slate from Simon Says Stamp, and then I have 2 brown ones from Neenah K, and the other 4 are white. So 4 of them are different with a gray, and 4 of them are brown, or 2 of them are brown, and the rest are all white. The 4 are white. So again, it's just easy to put these together, and I open up my card panels. I do side folding cards. I prefer that to top folding. I can never seem to get no matter how much creasing I do of my score lines, I can never get them to sit open. They always slide flat open. So I prefer side folding cards. And you can see some of these card panels that I attached to their bases, and I was actually messing around with that diagonal because it seems different on the reverse side, but it's really not, so just ignore that. This is the more masculine. This is one of my favorite, is the gray and black color scheme, because that is a really nice masculine card. If you're looking for good color schemes, you know, you got blues and grays and blacks, and you know, those make perfect combinations for foiling. And again, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to have videos up 2 to 3 times a week. Initially I said Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, but learning to edit and all this stuff just takes a little bit more time, and I seem to be picking the biggest projects I can find to put on video. That's why I sped this up quite a bit too, to bring it down to about 20 minutes or so. But please, if you subscribe, and ring that bell, you'll be the first to be notified when I upload new videos. And the next one is going to be some holiday gift tags, and also that you can, you know, repurpose and use as an ornament if you choose. And so I'd love for you to be notified when that video goes live. So please like, share, and subscribe. And these are the ivory and brown panels. I cut an ivory panel to put on the inside because it's dark cardstock, and I love how these turned out. And we're just finishing up, letting you see them all together, and I just love how these turned out. And now I didn't do any stamping on the inside, but I'm going to show here in a second the stamp sets that I used and the sentiments, because it's just perfect. So this is both are Simon Says Stamp, and the sending love, hugs, and lots of thanks, lots of birthday wishes are what I use for my sentiments inside. I did speed that up still, but I froze it so you can see. So you can always pause the video to check those out. But again, it was the big thanks words and the thoughtful messages stamp sets. And that wraps it up for today. I do want to thank you so much for taking your time and sharing it with me, and I hope you like these videos. So please don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe and share it with your friends. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you have a wonderful day.